and welcome to a special episode where we're going to talk a little bit about Ducktales, then and now. For most of you Duck fans, you already know the show, but for those who don't, Ducktales was an animated series that ran on the Disney Channel back in the late 80s and through the 90s. It started as a 2-hour made-for-television movie back in 1987, but was later that year cut down into the first 5 episodes when Ducktales was turned into a series. The show ran for 3 seasons, totaling 100 episodes. It led to the production of a full-length animated film as well as 2 video games for the original NES console, or the Famicom in Japan. The first DuckTales video game was later remastered for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 consoles, and I have to admit I loved the update. The voice actors from the show reprised their roles, the graphics look great, and there are some cute tongue-in-cheek achievements to unlock. So what made this cartoon series so amazing, so memorable? Donald Duck's barely even in the thing, so what made it so special? Each episode of the show threw the characters into mysteries and danger. There was always a puzzle to solve and villain to best. Yeah, Donald Duck's in maybe 4 out of the 100 episodes, but there's still plenty of character in the cast we're given. The main protagonist is Scrooge McDuck, an obscure character previously in animation, but pretty popular with the comics crowd. He's joined by some familiar faces, as well as some brand new ones. The premise for the show is pretty simple. Scrooge is always on the lookout for ways to make a buck, no matter how fantastic the scheme may be. At the start of the series, Scrooge is left with Huey, Dewey, and Louie as Donald's been apparently drafted into the Navy, and he makes it quite clear that he has no interest in forging any sort of meaningful bonds with the boys. But that doesn't stop the triplets from getting mixed up in Scrooge's mess. Scrooge finds himself impressed with his 3 new wards, however, when they prove to be bright and resourceful, as well as courageous and eager to learn. The boys are now members of a Boy Scout-like organization called the Junior Woodchucks. Their trusty guidebook often helps them find a way out of trouble and has proven instrumental in finding the solution to a fair number of problems. This thing was not meant to be taken lightly. The authors of this guidebook were the guardians of the Lost Library of Alexandria, so there is a ridiculous amount of information tucked away between the pages. Everything from building shelters to translating the Martian language. No joke. So throughout the series, we see Scrooge soften up. We see the triplets become responsible young boys. We meet Launchpad McQuack and Gyro Gearloose, and I honestly can't remember an episode that I felt acted as filler. Every story was fun, and I loved watching all of them. Understandably, it was sad to see the show go. Once it ran its course and wrapped up, there was this feeling of a good thing gone. Fast forward to now, and we're getting a reboot. The general consensus offers some mixed feelings, but for the most part, people seem to be optimistic. Personally, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it, but I do have to admit I have a few concerns. It appears the voice actors chosen for their roles, for the ones we've heard speak in the trailer anyway, seem to be good fits. Kate Micucci as Webby initially felt a little off. Webby in the original show had a little girl's voice. Kate Micucci's voice is obviously a little more mature. She no longer sounds like a 9-year-old, more like a 13-year-old. We're introduced to a very different Webigail Vanderquack in the trailer. She's adventurous, bold, apparently a Donald Duck fangirl. She comes across more as a female 4th triplet than how she was originally portrayed, which does feel a little unfortunate as we've lost a very feminine presence. Is this a problem? It's not a deal breaker, but I will need to get used to it. I'm not sold on the portrayal of the triplets. Disney faltered once before trying to give the boys overt personality and aesthetic differences, and I'm a little concerned they're leaning in that direction again. Particularly Louie's constant, seemingly apathetic, half-lidded expression bugs me a bit. The voices aren't too bad. Again, like Webby, they're obviously a little older than how they sounded originally, but it isn't bad. My biggest concern, however, is where Disney intends on setting the level for comedic content. Will the new DuckTales just be another low-brow mess of gross sight gags and unfunny, sarcastic one-liners? The trailer did give us some pretty funny moments. Launchpad's "Oh no, the ground" line makes me laugh every time I hear it, and I've watched that trailer at least 100 times now. But it is important to remember that trailers don't always do the end product justice. Sometimes we're promised things that are never delivered. I, like many other older fans, hold DuckTales in high regard, so we Duck fans have some big expectations. I know there are fans out there that are already convinced this reboot will fail, that it's destined to ruin their childhoods. I can't say I'm feeling that negative about it. Honestly, I'm more excited about having a show where we get to see Donald Duck portrayed in a positive light. He's the good guy, not a jealous side character standing off to the side. Webby herself states that Donald Duck is one of the most daring adventurers of all time. Good guy Donald Duck kicking butt? Sign me up. So what are your feelings, Duck fans? Are you excited? Apprehensive? And how about David Tennant filling Alan Young's spats? I think he sounds great, but what do you think?